KSYM, San Antonio College Radio. This is the Urban Suite D Major, Cheryl Metal, Kool era in the studio. Great conversation off air, y'all. If you're online, hey, I'm glad you're enjoying this show.
Yeah, get on the Urban Suite IG Live or me on Facebook.
Oh, I'm on Facebook too.
You're on Facebook too? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
My bad.
Oh, that's all good. All good. Wow. So this is all leading up to 89.
Yeah, 89 when I got into the music industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. My boy was he was hanging out with this cat named Rob Harris, who's like one of the top DJs out of LA, and the Rhyme Syndicate was looking for a cat to be an Asian cat to be in a group. So my friend's like, well, I don't DJ, but my friend is incredible, so they had me audition for them or whatever, and I got into this group. And then the next week they were flying me out to Minneapolis, and it was a group called the United Nations Committee, and it was like a Japanese guy with me and a Mexican guy named Sinful from the group, eventually the Mexicans, and two cats out of Minneapolis, Kelsey and this other guy named Bistro. And after Bistro was the white guy quit, Sin's friend brought Elemento into the group, and Elemento was from Long Beach, so that's how I met Elemento from the Visionaries. But that was my first group, but that's how I got into the music industry. And I was a big fan of Roger and Zap Troutman as a popper and all the funk music. And Roger's son, we went to his house the first night, and Roger's son, Roger Troutman Jr., rest in peace, produced the first demo that we had. And the most incredible thing was the next day we went to the studio, and the machine was broken, and he was like, I got a friend at Paisley Park, let me call him. And Paisley Park is Prince's studio, so we got to go over and record. My first recording experience, in the industry was at Paisley Park. And the funniest thing was when we got there, you walk in and they go, hey, you guys are recording in Studio B or whatever. Like, if you see the man, give him his space, don't talk to him, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. You just start walking down. The next person walks by, hey guys, you know the rule here, right? Like, what? If you see the man, give him his space. Okay, cool, right? Literally every person that you walk by says that to you. So then we're in the break room and we're playing pinball, and then Prince comes walking in with his girl, and we all literally just freeze, right? Because that's your natural instinct. You see the man, you're like, and he's just sitting there, gets stuff from the vending machine. He's like looking at us through the corner of his eye, and then he leaves. And then the oldest cat, Kelsey, he said, man, give the man a space. He didn't say stop breathing. I'm like, you stopped playing the pinball machine. What happened to your game? You stopped playing too. And so, but the thing was, he ended up inviting us into his soundstage and letting us, check it out and all that, because he thrived off of seeing our hunger, which was dope. Like, I was a kid, and that was my first experience, and to be able to do that was just. And the funniest thing was when I saw the Chappelle skit and they talk about basketball. He had a basketball hoop in the back of the studio, and we were all shooting back there. And we were making jokes like, I wonder if Prince plays basketball. Had no idea, and it was like, when I saw that, I was like, yes, for sure, that was his hoop back there. So, that's how I got in the music industry, basically, back in '89, thanks to Ice-T and the Rhyme Syndicate, and Tony Green, who was the manager that had that vision. Even though the group didn't last, that introduced me into the music industry as a young one. So.
Wow. So from there, what led up until the formation of the Visionaries? You already just said you met Elemento.
Right. So then after our group broke up, I just started trying to do stuff solo, and then I was an MC for one of the top promoters in LA, and so I would always MC his clubs. I mean, literally, he did all the biggest clubs in LA. Janet Jackson would come through and all these people, and I would just be the MC on the mic. Wow. And then Zen was also working for him, so that's how we met, because they would let us freestyle, because Zen was the only other one that could really freestyle, but not to zone out and take over. And it's a club still, so you had to hype the crowd and be able to do it seamlessly and not rap, 100 bars or whatever. So we became friends. Then Danu came up from San Diego, and he had a group, and he was working with these cats that they were like big producers and stuff, but their group kind of had a falling out. So we all just kind of started hanging out. But when I was solo, like I was trying to have people help me produce stuff. But then Rhett Maddock was friends with my manager at the time, Doug Cotto, who we founded Up Above Records together. So he ran into Rhett, but me and Rhett were at Princess Club Vertigo, and Rhett was guest DJ, and I was emceeing there, and we had this whole conversation, like, here we are at this club, having a rock music to rock a club or whatever, but we're nerding out, talking like every hip-hop record from like old, like, Rhett has a deep knowledge. Both of us are like, well, what about, he's like, did you know that Seth G from, Ultra Mag had the first, and we're talking about sampling, like, we were just geeking out. And so then me and Rhett, like, instantly were like, we bonded off of just hip-hop nerdiness, like nerding out on everything. I was like, I've never met someone that knew more than me about hip-hop. And so when I was talking to Rhett, I was working on the law office, and I called up Rhett, and he's like, I bought an SB1200. So I'm gonna send you some beats. Back then, right? Like, you had to snail mail a tape of beats, and he never sent it to me, right? I gave him my address. He had to, make a beat tape and mail it to me. But then my partner, business partner Doug, my manager, ran into Rhett. He goes, "Oh, you know Rhett? Like, I used to mobile DJ with him back in the day. I knew him." And so I said, "Tell that fool he owes me a beat." So I went to Rhett's house, and so Rhett and I, we demoed one song on a little 4-track in this garage in Cerritos, and we demoed another song. We literally recorded maybe like 6 or 7 songs within like a week. He's like, "Man, you're so hungry, you just want to work." And at the time, he was working with one of the founders of Crooks and Castles, Emil Soriano. He was a rapper too. Rich One, who founded Creative Recreation. It was a big shoe company that he became a millionaire off of that. He was also a dope designer, but he was like, all these dudes were so talented, but they're more talented with their design and their art. And so Rhett was like, you just want to rap. So he's like, let's make a group. And that's how we formed Cosmonauts. And so in 95, we were like, because of Violet Brown, she was like, because the music industry was telling us that Asians didn't listen to hip hop and Asians shouldn't be doing hip hop, whatever. They were telling us all these ridiculous things. And because Rhett had his experience with MCA Records, with the Brotherhood Creed, I had my experience with Wild West Records, which was an independent label that put out like the Nonce and other dope LA acts. But I had them trying to market me as a Mexican-American group, because they were like, there's a Latino market. And I was like, but I could speak Spanish, but I'm not Mexican. Like,
right.
Let me be who I am, and it'll be dope, right? And so I got out of that deal, and that group became the Mexicans, which are my friends still, and that fit, and that was dope with them. Big ups to I-Man and Sinful from the Mexicans. And so when we decided to record and release our own record, we're like, because of Violet Brown said, Violet Brown is she gets referenced in Eminem songs, right? She's like an industry heavyweight. She just so happened to be living in my neighborhood, and she had an affinity for helping people, local kids, and she knew I was from North Torrance. And her best friend was a English teacher that was my manager's English teacher, and he's like, I got a friend that might be able to help you. And when we met her, we were like blown away who it was, and she just said, make like the Bay Area cats and just get your own distribution and go independent. And this was when everyone was still trying to be on major labels, and there's a few independent labels out there besides Bay Area and some coming out the South eventually.
Right.
So we were like, let's do it, and people thought we were nuts. They were like, what are you guys thinking? Like, we're like, I don't know, man. We're just trying to get a record out. You know what I mean? And that's just how it went. So that's how it went from being with the Rhyme Syndicate to morphing into releasing our first record in 1995 on Up Above Records, which was the Kool and Rhematic Cosmonauts album, and the first Visionary song was actually on that record too. It was called Visionary Stop Acting Scary. So
wow.
That's how it all formed. That was our first official record in 1995, and we're just young heads that just wanted to get a record out, And being in LA, everyone's trying to do stuff, and the glitz and glamour and the politics, but you got real people that just, along with all those people that that we came out with in the LA Underground, you know, all the groups that came out of the LA Underground, we're all the dudes that were like, we're not making gangster rap because we're not gangsters, but we grew up with gangsters and we could rap all that if we wanted to.
Yeah.
But we're also hip hop nerds, we're artists, we're diverse, and we just want to tell our story the way it is because, yeah, you know, don't get me wrong, like we all grew up doing a lot of stuff and being around a lot of stuff, but we made certain choices to be, you know, the people we are. And, you know, with that being said, everyone has to do what they have to do, and for us, it was just music, so.
That's what's
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, stay tuned. We've got more with Kool and Era here. Do not go anywhere in this block of music. We have tracks from Namek and Reverie, but let's go ahead and get into a track from the Visionaries. This is Six Ring Circus. Keep it locked. More coming up. This is the Urban Suite KSYM, San Antonio College Radio.